Sandoval here. I'm going to be talking about kettlebells and some of the lessons that I've learned the hard and expensive way so that you don't have to repeat the mistakes that I've made. This is a great video if you're just getting started with kettlebells and if you're looking to purchase some for doing your home workouts or working out at the park, wherever it is that you tend to work out. So here are, this is the first concept that I would ask myself if I was doing it all again, which is, hey, you walk into a store or perhaps you're looking online and you see that there's these beautiful kettlebells that come in colors and they tend to be globular looking, and regardless of how much weight it is that you're looking to purchase per kettlebell, they're all going to be uniformly designed. So by uniformly designed, I mean they're all going to have equal circumference. And that type of kettlebell is typically called the Competition Kettlebell, which is this pink one that I'm pointing at. This kettlebell tends to be used in something called sports style kettlebell. And it is a type of, or like a methodology, a way of practicing, of using these kettlebells for training. The other style that you may see and have seen or stumbled upon or used already is this cast iron kettlebell. And so this is typically made out of a solid cast iron metal, and it is going to range in size, right? So what you can see here is that this bell is considerably, notably smaller than this one is. And so the second part is the biomechanics part, right? So for example, if you tend to be a shorter person, this bell is going to be consistent in design and in size, but it is going to take up significantly more space. And here is, I'm going to do a little bit of measurement live so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So on the upper end, we have about 7 inches for the handle, and we have about 12 inches in height. For this kettlebell, it's still 7 inches in width for the handle, but the height is much lower. This is measuring in height only at 9 inches. So this is almost a 3 inches difference in height. And so the reason why that's important is because, say, if you're going to repurpose a rack that you might already have, say for dumbbells, and you're doing something similar to what I'm doing, which is I'm planning on storing my kettlebells under my dumbbell rack, this cast iron construction one is going to easily fit because it's much shorter. Whereas this one here doesn't even fit because it's so tall. So from a storage perspective and from a biomechanics perspective, this smaller cast iron construction is going to be a little bit better suited for you if you have bigger hands, if you are a shorter person and want to be able to do racks and double swings. The other thing that to consider from an aesthetics perspective is, say you're building a home gym and you want everything, like your colors, to be uniform. Having all of these different colors, because all of the bells typically come in different colors for the competition bells, is going to make it so that you're very, very colorful versus having something that is more neutral and consistent. So if you're somebody who tends to care a lot about aesthetics and design and like patterns and color, this might be a more uniform option. However, if you are somebody who tends to really love colors and likes to have, or is motivated by having colorful tools in their environment, the Competition Kettlebell might be better for you. So moving on, one of the major learnings that I had from purchasing these kettlebells is that, say, when I purchased this Eleiko kettlebell, I was super excited because I personally love color, but once I received the kettlebell, the circumference of it itself was way larger than I ever imagined. And so I had that conflict where I couldn't really swing 2 kettlebells in between my legs without opening up my stance much. And for me as a small person, I'm 5'2", rocking both of these 8 kilograms kettlebells would just be way too much to have here in my chest. And it takes up too much space. So for me, having something like this is really not that much of a viable option, because I don't want to just have 2 of these. I definitely want to have at least 3 sets where I can move comfortably as I continue to progress in my strength. So with that said, what I really wanted to share with everyone here as well is that before you take out your credit card and you decide to make a purchase, do what I didn't do, which is make sure that you go and check the return policy. The reason why I say that is because if I were to return this kettlebell, although I paid $35 for shipping from Alico USA, which is based in Texas, to return this back to Texas from California, FedEx and USPS is charging at least $48. So say you order it, you're not happy with the kettlebell, if you don't check the return policy, you are going to be responsible for paying at least $48 per kettlebell for shipping them back to where they came from. That doesn't make any sense for me because these were each $72. So I'd be losing out on more than half of the cost of each kettlebell. So that aside, a couple of things. So far we've covered storage, we've covered the style of kettlebell, we've covered biomechanics and also design. The other thing that I think would be really helpful for anybody who's purchasing their first kettlebells is to think about getting a set. So say you go and you buy yourself a 25. If you don't buy a matching set of 25s, when you do lift them, or when you swing, when you rack them, when you snatch, when you clean, whatever it is that you're doing, when you row, the weight distribution of the kettlebell is going to feel slightly different and it will be noticeable. And I'm not sure if that just affects me because I'm a little bit picky or particular, but I can really feel the weight distribution. You might think that all kettlebells are the same because they serve the same purpose, but they're all uniquely designed. And so what that means is that when you're doing your swings, they're going to handle slightly different. And the weight distribution is going to feel different across both arms instead of kind of feeling the same. So I would really say if you're planning to do any exercises that require using both arms, say you're doing double presses, or say you're doing double snatches, or say you're doing double swings or rows, it probably makes sense to get 2 instead of just buying 1 at a time. The only way where I feel like it would make sense to only buy 1 at a time is if 1, you are low on cash, or if you're buying them 1 at a time because they are expensive, it is an investment, or if you are starting out with a weight that's a little bit heavier than you're ready to, say you can pick up the 25 and you can do movements with it, but you couldn't do movements with a 50 yet, like 2 25s, then it makes sense to only buy 1, and then as you progress in strength, you can buy your second kettlebell. So in that sense, I would say think long term. If you can afford it, you can buy 2 of them. If you can't afford it quite yet, it's totally fine to buy 1, but eventually you will want to buy a matching set so that the weight distribution is the same. Lastly, as far as going back to the financials and the cost of it, I would say that cast iron ones are more affordable if that's something that you're looking for. Competition style ones are going to be a little bit more costly, a little bit more difficult to store, and they're going to kind of impinge your ability to hold and to do more with the kettlebell if you are either shorter